Alright, good morning, afternoon, or evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dalfray, and welcome to, I guess, a Cuphead trophy guide. I'm going to be showing you, I'm going to be telling you guys how to get every single trophy. Some of them I'm not going to be able to show you, because some of them are just going to be you fighting the bosses and stuff. I mean, I could do a video showing how to defeat every single boss, on, but I won't do that unless it gets specifically requested. I'm just going to leave it aside for now. Unless someone just specifically requests that, I will upload that along with my other daily videos I do every couple days or every 2 days. But regardless, I'm just gonna be telling you guys how to get every single trophy. I'll be going to the boss and tell you like tips to fight him, like probably like the best weapons and stuff, or the stuff I personally use to fight him. I'm gonna be showing you guys all the coins and stuff like that. So I'm gonna get started right now and say the first trophy: defeat a boss, easy. Just go and defeat the first boss. The next trophy, defeat every boss in the Inkwell 1. So defeat every boss in the first area, the second area, and the third area, and then beat the final area and the devil, and you're pretty much set. That's the first couple trophies. Completing the game on normal comes along with defeating the devil, so you're good right there. Completing the game on expert, some of the bosses are a little harder, but a lot of it comes down to skill level. Like, I prefer to use some weapons, but other people might prefer to it's all down to preference, really. What preference you want to use when fighting the bosses. The bosses for the first couple of areas aren't too bad, maybe except Flowey. But the other bosses are pretty simple. So that trophy, completing the game on expert, really comes down to skill. But I'll show you guys what weapons I use. So for this one right here, the carrot boss, I always use the spread, and I always use the. I'm gonna be talking in terms of expert mode here, because I feel like that one's just easier to talk about, because at that point everybody has everything. And as normal mode, all the bosses aren't really too bad except later down. But even then, it still applies to extra mode as well. But I usually use the spread shot, which carries it, or the charge shot. But that takes care of the boss really easily. This boss right here, Bruise of a News, always use a spread shot. The plain boss up there, that one really just comes down to skill, because there's not really much to give you as far as use. I mean, you could kind of maybe use like one of the twin hearts or maybe even a coffee meter. But to me, I never really used it. I should have. I don't even think dash makes a difference when you're in play mode. Unless it does, I never noticed it. But aside from that, this boss right here, same thing. I use the charge shot, and I also use the spread shot. I usually use the spread shot at like the beginning of the first phase, and then the spread shot for the second phase. The last phase I use charge shot though. So it's basically charge, spread, charge. For the flower boss, Flowey, or Cagney Carnation, I use the, there's different things you could use. I would use the spread, and I would use the, what's it called? Either the roundabout or the lobber. You can use the chaser to kill some of the things coming down, but personally I really use the spread for that. You could pretty much use the spread for the entire fight, unless it's the last phase when you get a little bit of that range separation. But for that, you could probably use like Lobber or something. Lobber does a really good job in this fight, personally for me, on the last phase. But that pretty much carries it. Now you defeat all of the bosses, you can get some of the trophies fairly easily. So one of the trophies called Finding a Shortcut can be found right here. This is a really easy shortcut to find. These areas right here are fairly simple. I mean, you just go ahead and parry stuff, but it's not really too hard. I'm not going to be talking to coins, I'll save the coins for after. But that shortcut right there is just something really easy for you to get. Once you defeat all the bosses in the first area, that should give you like the A rank. That's what I used to get the A rank on all the bosses. When you go into the second area, this boss right here, I usually use, you can use a chaser, or you can use the roundabout. The lobber's not too bad, but on the last phase when she's throwing heads at you, it might be a little bit harder to get shots off. So personally, I might use these two, or the charge shot isn't actually too bad either. I use the spread shot as well to take care of some of the enemies in the first phase, but it's not really too recommended. I mean, it works good against the gumball mini boss thing and the little ball thing that chases you. Other than that, I mean, it really comes down to preference for this boss. I just personally like using a roundabout. It's really good for this one, especially since she's gonna be chasing you. Again, another airplane one. It's I mean, it's up to you what you want to use for that in terms of using your charms. But I'm just gonna say for every plane boss, I'm just gonna say it all comes down to skill. So for the clown boss, you're gonna want to use the spread shot. If you're able to get the opportunity or get good enough to be able to get under him at times, and use a spread shot, it melts him. It absolutely melts him. So that's really good for that. Or you could use the chaser. The chaser's not actually too bad for getting through the phase when he's on the little the trains are coming and the train is coming and he's coming from the top. You could use a chaser for that, or you could use the I mean, the charge shot isn't too bad if you're able to position yourself right, but it's not always guaranteed. I'd much rather use a chaser, play it safe, and then use a spread shot for the first and last phase. Especially during the last phase, not your super art, not this thing, but the regular art you get for the spread shot, which shoots like I guess like a star. It does like a lot of damage if you're able to land in the middle. So it's something. The spread shot for this, though, the X art for this carries a lot throughout the game. If you're able to position yourself right, you can get maximum damage when you use that X art, or that what's it called? I think it's called X art, right? When you use that art, and you're able to maximize your damage. That's one of the main ones I got through a lot of the bosses. Again, this all comes down to skill for the bird boss. I mean, for the bird boss, make sure for the last phase you definitely use your alternate fire, your little bombs that you drop. Instead of using the X art for the alternate fire, make sure you use it for your machine gun rounds, because you're able to actually control where the bombs go and you get maximum damage from that. That's what I personally do. That pretty much takes care of that boss. For the dragon boss, I personally really like using the lobber, specifically for the first. Partially the first, but mostly the second phase. The second phase, as long as you're, I think on expert mode, I don't know if it switches the direction the thing goes, the clouds go. But if you're able to use the lobber on expert, it really takes care of that fight really easily. You could also use roundabout on regular, because I think you have to go running away from him. But if it's not the case, just use roundabout. But other than that, I really personally recommend you use lobber. You could also use charge shot, because of the last phase he shoots his little what's it called, his little fireballs that explode, so that really helps trying to avoid all that stuff. And I think the chaser will lock onto those. I didn't use a chaser, but I think it does. It's just something that makes it a lot easier for you to avoid hitting those, to make the fight easier. Alright, now for one of the most annoying ones in this game, if you're not good at platforming, is the honeybee girl. Personally, for this one, I liked using the lobber and the chaser. The lobber really takes care of being able to do good damage. You could use the charge shot as well, but having a platform be a little awkward in this fight it kind of makes its potential a little. It kind of ruins its potential a little bit. The lobber, in my opinion, during the first and second phase does really well. The chaser in the last phase pretty much carries. You could use a lobber when she gets ready to use her little like spin attack or her buzzsaw attack. If you position yourself correctly, get a few shots with this, and especially the chaser. So I really recommend using that. By the way, for all these fights, I'm always using the energy beam. I never really used a giant ghost until this fight, the Tom and Jerry fight, I guess you could say. For this fight, I used the spread shot. I used the lobber for the damage. I mostly use spread shot. I don't think I use anything except spread shot. Maybe charge shot. For the first phase, for you to be able to just shoot when he's trying to shoot out his little stuff and you're having to switch or change directions and all that shit. But you could mostly use spread shot for this to carry in the second and third phase. In the third phase, you get a lot of opportunities to use your extra art to get all those hits with the extra art on the cat fight. But I did use the giant ghost for this. Mostly because it's a little risky going for the energy beam in this one during the second phase when the spikes are coming in. So in my opinion, it's really good to use the giant ghost to be able to, I guess, keep a safe distance while doing a good amount of damage. I never really understood how to use a giant ghost. I never really seen anybody use it. I don't know how much damage it does per hit, or if you have to do it a specific way to get more hit. Or if you just keep moving, then a ghost spins around, I guess. I'm not really too sure, but I did use a giant ghost for this rather than an energy beam. Because I did catch myself getting hit sometimes with the energy beam, and it did cost me a couple deaths. As far as this dude goes, the captain dude, I use a charge shot for him in the lobber. You could always use a chaser. The chaser is really good for playing it safe. You could pretty much use that in all the fights. But yeah, for the beard, just use the charge shot and the you could use a chaser or the lobber. Now for this girl, again, comes down to skill. Hers is a little hard, so I guess only tip I could give for her is try to position yourself. Try to keep track of her eels in her second phase, and try to keep track of when she's gonna use her little her what's that called? Her little stone freezing thing. So you don't get caught, like, I guess frozen, and then she gets like free hits on you and stuff like that. So I guess before she's she's about to use her little stone freeze thing, try to kill some of the eels to like lower some of the projectiles on the screen. So that's really the only tip I really give for that. So for her, I use a spread shot for the first and second phase. You could also use the lobber. The lobber isn't actually too bad. The charge shot really suffers here because of the last phase. I mean, you can get under her and hit her, but with the roses falling down and umbrella, it presents a lot more time for you to miss and a lot more time for you to get hit. It also lessens the time for you to actually get a better score. Same thing with the roundabout. I mean, there might be a little bit more projectiles, but the roundabout doesn't really do anything in my opinion here. The chaser is actually not that bad. I think I used the chaser to beat her an expert for the last phase, and I just used the spread shot for the first and second phase. The third phase, when she shoots her little lightning and her waves or whatever, spread shot pretty much carries throughout the entire fight. And the last fight just used chaser, so that pretty much wraps her up. And I'd still use the energy beam on hers as well. The only one I never use energy beam again is the little cat fight, Tom and Jerry fight. So for this boss, again, just comes down to skill. That boss I kind of struggled on because of, for me, it just really mesmerizes me or confuses me how the projectiles move on the last phase. The only really tip I could give you is I would always shoot the top. I would always shoot the top, and then once the middle, like, pink thing comes in, I would automatically parry that as many times as I can, and then use the bomb to destroy the middle and the bottom part of the robot. And that's really the only thing tip I could give you. As far as shooting the heart, just make sure you stay safe with projectiles. I always stayed towards the bottom, shooting the bombs as they came out and shooting the heart. Just be careful again with projectiles. When it came to the second phase for the robot fight, when his head's flying around and stuff like that, just use the bombs as it comes by and try to maneuver your way around the bombs and get used to it. Get used to maneuvering around it. The last phase, like, I mean, you could try to learn the way that things move, but they move in such a confusing way. It was a little difficult for me to dodge it at times. I don't know really any tips I could give you for that, except always take advantage of when the little pink things are close to you and you know you can get it safely. That's the only thing I could say that carries that fight. As long as you're able to get one, maybe two of the super art bomb things in, use the rest of your extreme arts on finishing them off, and that's pretty much all I can give you on that fight. The train fight, I used the spread shot, and I used the chaser's not that bad of an option. The lobber or the chaser, I never used a charge shot because the boss on the third phase or the last phase is always moving around, and the boss in the second phase, it's not too bad. Same with the third phase, but it's mostly just the last phase. It kind of suffers a little bit, but I mean, if you're able to do it, go ahead if you really go with the charge shot. But I use a spread shot for the second phase, I use it for the third phase, and I use the chaser for the first and last phase. The spread shot really took care of the little balls coming in at the first phase and the little soap things that drop, the little pumpkins that are carrying them. So I was able to get through I was really able to get through safely without getting hit or without the soap things coming. And the charm I used for that fight, I did use the pea sugar for that, the automatic parry, and I still use the energy super art. I never used the ghost. You can use the ghost on it for the last phase and the second phase as well. I mean, for all the phases actually. The second, third, and fourth. The first one, just make sure you're doing it regularly. And the second, third, and fourth, you could use the ghost because they're all above you. Just make sure you're moving around or however to get the maximum damage. That's pretty much it. I don't think I used pea sugar on any other boss except that train one that I can remember. You could also use the pea sugar on the B boss if you want to be able to hit or get the parries for the better score for like the first or second phase, I used the spread shot and I used the charge shot. If you have the smoke bomb, I definitely recommend you take the smoke bomb for the actual King Dice fight, cause just because of the ballerina fight, it makes it so much easier to get through. You just dash right through her, hit her a couple of times with maybe the charge shot or the spread shot, whatever you do, and it just makes it a lot easier. When you're fighting King Dice, the only advice I could give you is get really good at pairing his little cards, and get really good at as pretty much getting really good at pairing his cards. You could charge up like a super attack at the beginning, get like a free shot, and you get a chance to hit your. You don't get a chance to do full start or full extreme art for the spread shot for this. I personally like saving my energy beam for it. But that's pretty much wraps up the casino. The devil. Now the devil, I used the spread shot again. You could use the lobber. And you could also use the roundabout for the third phase when the enemies are coming in from the side. In case you miss a couple shots on the devil or something, or you just keep shooting while you're dodging around, you can hit the enemies on the side or whatever coming around. But you could also use a spread shot too to kill any of the little things coming down. So it's all really up to you. Chaser's not too bad, but with how many enemies there are, again, it's up to you. I think I might target the eye rather than the enemies unless I get too close, but it doesn't do enough damage to actually kill it, I think. Or depending on where your position is, so that's up to you to excuse me, to try it out. The lobber, the lobber's not too bad, but I don't really use it for this fight. I mainly use a spread shot. You could the charge shot, I kind of used a little bit of that in the first fight, but mostly for the second and third, just to get a couple free hits off of. But that's mainly up to you. Again, I use a energy beam and I use a smoke bomb. Smoke bomb I use for a majority of the fights in this game, unless the ones I specifically told you so. I never used the twin hearts or the heart for it, and I never used the whetstone. The whetstone is one of the most underused things in this game, because I never seen anybody use the whetstone, and I really see no purpose to. The coffee, there's a couple bosses you could use it for if you get really good at dodging and you just want to kill it really fast. That's what excuse me. The only personal thing I use coffee for, just for like speedrun, I guess. You can get more DPS out of it. But that's pretty much it. I never really use it for much else. Now, as far as the actual running levels go, or the running gun levels, again, I told you the chase does really good, and a spread shot for enemies that get too close, and for the chase or just for clearing out enemies in general. It's really good for doing that. But if you want to go pacifist mode, you can either use twin hearts or the what's it called, the smoke bombs. I personally use the smoke bomb. If it's a level where you don't really need to dash for everything, I'll of course use the twin hearts just in case you get hit. But if there's something to dash through stuff, which is mostly at the end, then use the smoke bomb. But for the first like running gun levels, I think on the first and second world, you could probably use it on half of it, or on 3 of them. And the other 3 you have to use a smoke bomb. One more thing, guys, you could use invincibility on all the I guess running gun to make sure you don't get hit, at least for a brief moment. I forgot to say this before, but just make sure you use this when you're trying to go running gun and trying to do pacifist or something. It just makes it a lot easier. But that's pretty much it. So that's all the way up to the King Trophy, which is obtain an A rank or higher on all the bosses. Again, I just showed you what weapons you could use, and it's up to you if you want to use it or not. Again, it mainly comes down to skill, how well we're able to do with the bosses. If you do play on expert rank, which is the harder difficulty, you do unlock the ability to get an S rank, and the easiest S rank I know how to do is either this boss or the other boss, Ruzu and Ooze. It's really easy to get S rank on either of those. There's a ton of parable opportunities in this boss in the first phase, and then the rest just comes down to time and HP and all that stuff. Same thing with this boss. When he transforms, he gives you 3 parry opportunities, so it's really easy if you want to do it that way. Obtaining all super arts, just go through all the Colosseums, buy everything in Porcoin shop. That comes down to collecting all the coins, which I'm going to show you how to do in a little bit. So getting every single coin. Alright, excuse me. 30 coins come from, because there's 6 running gun levels, and each running gun level has 5 coins. So 30 coins come from just doing the running gun levels. There's 30 out of 40. You get 1 from doing the tutorial. You get 3 from talking to this dude. So that's 34. You get 1 for talking to, or for clearing all the bosses. You get a coin right here. So that is 35. You get a coin for doing her quest. So after you do hers, that's 36. And then you do this guy's quest right here, was a parry quest. And then you come down to 37. And there's a coin down here. Like right by the, what is that? There's a coin over here, where if you check right here, there should be a coin behind these bushes right here. So that's coin number 38. The last 2 come from the third area and the casino. There's a coin right here, and that should equal coin number 39 right here. You go right here, and the last coin's right here. So it'll be 40 out of 40 coins. Go ahead and buy everything in Pork Rind Shop with all those coins you got, and that should unlock the Pork Rind Shop trophy as well. Completing 20 parries and completing 100 parries come along naturally with the game. Complete all levels without killing an enemy. Like I said before, you just use the twin hearts, or just use the smoke dash. You can use the twin hearts for like the last 3, or the smoke dash for the last 3. You can use the twin hearts for all of them, and whenever you have to take a hit, just take a hit, and then just keep going on. There are a couple things you're gonna have to do in the games to get through the levels. The only one I know of that actually you have to do something for is the first pacifist level, or I think it's the first pacifist level. The part where there's like a nut shooter going up, or like a nut producer. You have to be able to have one of the mushrooms shoot across, or at least shoot like down and then like a little bit up, so you're able to parry off of those and then go over it. That's the only thing. It's this one right here. That's the only tip I can give you for one of the pacifist levels, from my knowledge, that actually you need to do something for. The other ones are just taking hits and dodging all the way to the end mostly. I think one of the levels, like the clown levels, where you have to like flip gravity and stuff like that, you have to like go through the mouths and stuff. I don't know if you have to take a hit to do that or not. You could take the twin hearts, but I personally took smoke dash to do that, to do that one. And that got me through. Defeating a boss with the super art, again, you could do one of the basic levels on simple, and the easiest one I know how to do is the carrot boss on simple or expert. I forgot which one I did it on. But you do it, the last phase, when he shoots his little like circle things 2 times, shoot him a couple times, and then use your super art, and that should give you the finale for the super art thing. The extra move, you could do the same thing with him here. Just like wait till he does it like 2 times, and then keep shooting super arts till he's dead. Or extreme art, my bad. So you could just use this first boss on like simple or something like that. It doesn't apply to any sort of difficulty, like you have to do it on normal or something. So you could do that. Now, defeat King Dice without taking a hit. The only thing I could tell you about that, for King Dice, go to numbers 1, 4, and 7. Those are the easiest ones you want to get through for going to King Dice without taking a hit, because you don't have to worry about the HP. If you want to fight King Dice regularly, make sure you go for all the heart points that you can. They do vary per match, I'm pretty sure, or every attempt. So you can get used to bosses in all of them. So that mainly comes down to skill level. If you have 6 hearts at the end, you should be good, especially if you get at least decent at parrying some of it. If you take a couple hits here and there, that's fine. But if you want to do it without taking a hit, I personally recommend going through 1, 4, and 7. So make sure you do that, and don't worry about the HP, because if you take a hit, then I mean you're pretty much done anyways. So defeating a boss using only mini plane bullets. That trophy, you can do it on simple difficulty, and I personally did it with her, the Moon Lady Hildeberg. You don't have to worry about getting hit or anything. I mean, you can take a couple hits and stuff like that. You just have to mostly worry about sticking close to the boss, which can be a little problematic, especially if she shoots stuff super fast and predictably. But as long as you try to do it a few times to get good at it, you should be able to do it. Just make sure you keep staying close and stuff like that. Don't use any super arts, don't use any extreme arts, because I think that ruins the run. You just have to do it with the mini plane bullets, just the bullets, and then you're pretty much set. So finding a shortcut, I already showed you guys, go through that little shortcut right here and you unlock that trophy. Parrying 5 times before hitting the ground, you can do that in one of the Colosseums. I personally would do the so if you're gonna, before you do a Colosseum, or when you're doing a Colosseum and you know you're about to complete it, like you have a feeling you're going towards the end, do it on the last one mostly. You could do it on the first one, but I recommend doing it the last one because of more parry opportunities. If you're nearing the end and you still haven't done the trophy, just restart it if you can, or quit out the game, whatever, and just redo it until you're able to get the trophy. There are other ways to do it in other levels, but it's just really easy because there's so many, all the enemies are parries in the Colosseums, so you can pretty much do it in the Colosseums. That's how I got that trophy. And then the last trophy is selling out, which is giving it to the devil when you choose the ending of the game. When the devil asks for the soul contracts, just say yes, and you pretty much join the devil, and that's pretty much the end of the game. And I believe that's every single trophy. Yeah, that's every single trophy. So that is my first time trying this, so I might start a little bit. I might make a couple mistakes and stuff like that, but I do want to do this for a couple more games. I want to get better at it. I want to get better at getting my point across. I want to get better tips and stuff like that. So let me know how I did below in the comments down below. But that's pretty much gonna do it for this video, guys. I really recommend you play Cuphead if you're watching this and you don't have it. It is pretty difficult, I'm gonna tell you right now, especially if you're going trophy hunting. It can get a little frustrating at times when you're trying to defeat bosses doing specific circumstances, stuff like that. I don't have it right here on the PS4, but on my Switch, I was able to S-rank all the levels just to maximize everything I did in the game, and that took me around like 30 hours. So the game's not too long, but it's a short and enjoyable experience. I like the bosses. I just really wish they had online multiplayer. That's the only thing I wish they had. But other than that, I really recommend you guys play it. Make sure you take these tips into account. If you're playing for the first time, try to use the weapons I showed you. The spread shot really does carry a lot. If you're able to do good with the charge shot, it does really good for a lot of the bosses. Same with the Dalfray. I never used a pea shooter, and roundabout it was only under circumstances where you're getting chased, such as the little candy lady. But chaser really does carry if you're getting used to the game, getting used to dodging and stuff like that. So these four are the main ones I used. This one is very limited in situation. I'll never use pea shooter. Again, energy beam. No, that's pretty much it. I always use smoke bomb. I never really use the whetstone. Coffee or pea sugar is very situational. Once you unlock this, I mean, I guess you could use this if you're prolonging a fight. I don't know. I never really used the twin hearts unless I was doing like one of the pacifist runs. But other than that, I've never really used it, and I never even touched the whetstone. I don't even know why that's there. I don't know if there's any bosses that have any sort of parries you can do with damage. Maybe the Rules of a News boss, the little slime boss, but that's pretty much it. But yeah, I guess it's gonna wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did enjoy, make sure to go slap that like button. If you're new here, make sure to go hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell to catch up on my recent uploads. Upload every 2 days as always. Leave a comment down below telling me if you liked or disliked anything about the video. I do plan on doing a review for Days Gone. I don't know how that's gonna go. Because I'm gonna be playing the game from start to finish. I'm gonna be trying to include clips and stuff like that. And the share factor is so limited, I'm gonna try my best to make a good video. If I can't show clips specifically of what I'm talking about, I'll try to just, I guess, talk over gameplay. But I'll see. But anyways, that's gonna wrap up the video for today, everybody, and I'll talk to you guys later.